My name is John Monaghan. I have my own construction company. I basically do form work, which is a lot of concrete and columns and that type of work. I have 4 employed, and 2 are Ukrainian refugees.
From your own perspective, what is the overall situation regarding refugees in the construction industry in Ireland? And what I mean by is in general, so what's your view on refugees in the construction sector? How is things going for them?
Well, I have 2 Ukrainians working for me, and I find them really good. They're excellent workers. Now, we did have a huge problem at the start with the language barrier.
Yeah.
It's has improved a good bit, but it's still got a long way to go, and it can cause problems at times. So I'd say language is a big issue at the moment.
Do you know in what trades refugees work in the construction sector?
The two that work for me now, it's mainly carpentry work they do now. They're kind of trained on the job. They didn't do it before they worked for me. They were both in IT, which is completely different to what they do now. But the problem is, I think their qualifications weren't recognized here. So,
Okay. How would you see the participation of refugees in the construction sector?
2 that work for me from Ukraine get paid the exact same amount as the 2 Irish lads. So they're all on union rates. So it's all, everything has to be fair.
In what specialist areas are refugees trained in the construction sector?
Well, they have to have the basic training that would be safe pass and manual handling. That's mandatory on all sites now.
Okay.
But that can be difficult in itself, because training them, unless you have an interpreter there, it's difficult to get them to. But they have to pass their exams on the exam at the end of the day on that before they can work on a construction site. But it's down to language again. It can be difficult.
Then, kind of following on from that question, do you think there are more specific professions that refugees choose or are drawn to because they're refugees?
I think from what I've seen, the refugees, they'll ask you what work we have available, and they're willing to try anything, which is great. It's a sign that they're really willing to go for it and do their best. Because their skills aren't recognized here, it's a shame, and it's something that needs to be touched on and to get them going at what they like. I've got 2 guys qualified in IT, but yet they're working. But they're not afraid to get their hands dirty, in fairness, but they should be probably working in IT, but it isn't for them at the minute. So,
Then this kind of relates to what you were talking about. What training do refugees need to improve their work and outcomes in the construction sector?
well, I think before any training goes ahead, the language, English, is I think priority. If they're trained to speak our language well, then they can be trained in a lot of other things. They can do apprenticeships, same as anyone else in the country, and that would improve their skills hugely.
How do you see the situation of refugees in the construction industry long term?
Long term, I think there's a huge opening for refugees there to make a career in construction, and not just in labouring or the trades, for engineering as well, and for in IT, design, whatever it may be.
Do you see any evolution, growth, or development in the employment of immigrants in the construction sector?
I do, yes, without a doubt. I think there's huge opportunities there for refugees. Once you can get past the language and get a bit of training done, they can make careers for life.
In your experience, you mentioned that. So the question is, what factors have enabled or hindered this process? I suppose, if you want to push on that, so in your experience, what has enabled refugees to integrate, and then have you experienced any barriers to that integration?
Well, what has enabled them is, well, they have already integrated with local communities. The kids go to school, playing sports in local with local clubs.
Yeah.
What goes against them, I'll still go back to language. It's still a huge problem.
Again, this is just for your general opinion. Would you say that Ireland supports the employment of refugees in professions where there is a shortage of workers in the construction industry?
Yes, I think Ireland do have, and always have had. Years ago, 25 years ago, I worked with Brazilians that came over here. Same situation. They came looking for, well, it wasn't the same situation as the Ukrainians, but they came looking for work, and they integrated well, and a lot still live here. They've bought houses. They're part of every community now.
So, given the current political and economic climate, we currently have a housing crisis. Do you think there is an opportunity for refugees to contribute significantly to the Irish construction sector?
Oh, without a doubt, yes. That's a definite yes on that, yeah.